Ever since I've posted that video talking about leaving full-time clinical medicine, I've gotten a lot of questions from you guys asking how I've done it, how could you do it too? So in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. I'll give you a few tips and tricks if you're thinking about leaving full-time medicine, and I'll also tell you about some alternative career paths for doctors. For those of you that don't know me, hi, Malika is my name. I'm a doctor by background, but in September 2024, I transitioned away from hospital-based medicine and started a new role at a pharmaceutical company. I'll tell you a little bit more about this role later on in the video. So the first, and I would say maybe the most important thing I had to do was reframe my mindset and my thinking. So as doctors, many of us think that we have no transferable skills. Medicine is the only thing that we know how to do. We spent 5 years in college doing it. We weren't like the business students that were getting to do internships at the Big Four over summer. That wasn't the case for us. But you need to keep in mind that as doctors, we have so many soft and technical skills which could be transferred to any field. So, for example, you know how to triage different tasks, you know how to delegate work, you have leadership skills, because I'm sure at some stage you would have had medical students or even junior doctors following you around trying to learn from you. You have communication skills. You've been in very difficult situations and have had to talk your way out of it, right? And of course, we know we have the different technical skills as well. You have knowledge around anatomy, biochemistry, all these different subject areas. So put that thought to the side and just come at it from a new perspective. You also have to keep in mind that many people before you transitioned out of medicine and into other fields. So why can't you do it too? So the minute I did that and I reframed my thinking, then I could have moved on to the other steps. The next thing I'd say you have to do is get on LinkedIn. As doctors, we do not see the value of LinkedIn. Most of us would not use it. However, it is such an invaluable tool. Now I'm going to tell you 3 of the ways I used LinkedIn when I was searching for opportunities. So the first one was reading the bios and the experience sections of people that have transitioned out of medicine. So for me, I wasn't really sure what other jobs were out there. I didn't know what qualifications I might need, what might look good to an employer. So I would go through LinkedIn just looking at the profiles of random people, looking in their experience section, seeing how much time they spent in clinical medicine and what they were doing now. It just gave me an idea of what was out there, the different opportunities and the different approaches to take. Another way I used LinkedIn was actually for job alerts. So there's a part in LinkedIn where you can put in jobs you're looking for or the area you're looking in, and they will send you alerts in emails on a daily basis or weekly basis. And the other way I would use LinkedIn would just be to go to companies, different pharmaceutical companies, their LinkedIn profiles, any type of company, health tech companies, and I would just look for job openings within the space, look at the type of people that they were hiring, the people that were working for them, go on their profile. So as you can see, I was using LinkedIn for a lot of research purposes, and I would say it played a very big role in helping me move from my previous job into my new job. Because when I tell you my full story, you will see that I actually got this job as well as many other job opportunities based on LinkedIn posts. The next thing I would suggest that you do is upskill yourself, whether this be through in-person courses, online courses, free, paid, it doesn't really matter. Just absorb as much information as you can, get as many skills as you can. I call this building your skills toolbox, and I've always been an advocate of doing this. Be open to learning new things, stay curious. So the last piece of advice I would give anybody that is looking to transition out of medicine is do not underestimate the value of networking. Now, I know this is something that people talk about a lot, and for many of us, it can sound a bit overwhelming or like we just don't have the time for it. However, there are simple ways to network, okay? You can connect with new people on LinkedIn and try to form genuine connections. You can go to networking events, or you can just simply talk to people that you meet in social settings, because you never know if your values might align and you all can create something great together. Networking also gives you the opportunity to have conversations with doctors that have previously transitioned out of medicine. You can ask them how they got there, ask them for any tips or advice that they might have. And most people are open and willing to share information. So that can work to your advantage as well. I'll give you a few examples. So I went to a health tech event last year and I was just talking to different people, going around the room, things like that. And I came across a doctor that transitioned from medicine into UX UI design. I never thought that this could even be remotely related to medicine, but she showed us how she interlinked her medical knowledge with UX UI design to create some amazing, beautiful products. I've also met people at that same event that have put me in touch with people whose goals and interests align with me and what I want to do with my future. And I've had conversations with people that I would have never met before, just from the power of networking. So now I'm going to share my story with you and I'm going to show you how I use each of those strategies to help me land my current job. Now, like many of you, I would have been in the same boat. I thought that medicine was the only thing that I could do. I didn't think I would ever be able to transition out of it. I was only a very junior doctor. So I felt like even if I wanted to transition, I would have to work at it for a couple more years before I could get an out. So after I kind of reframed my mindset and I realized, look, other people have done it too. Junior doctors have done it. I started looking on LinkedIn at different types of job roles that would be available to me, different job opportunities. I would Google non-clinical roles for doctors just to get an idea of what was out there. So I knew that I wanted to spend some period of time working in either the pharmaceutical or the health tech space. However, I wasn't necessarily sure how to go about getting into those industries. But I also had an interest in aesthetic medicine because I felt like it would be a nice way to combine practical elements and there would be an element of creativity. So I chose to do my level 7 diploma with Harley Academy in London. So it would usually be on like my days off, or if I was post nights or something like that, I would fly across to try to get the practical sessions in. Because for the level 7 diplomas, you have to inject a certain amount of people and you have different exams and tests and stuff like that that you have to do. So my plan initially was that when my contract would be up in July 2024, so this is my contract as a doctor, I would then go into the aesthetic space because it would give me a little bit more flexibility and it was something that I enjoyed a bit more. And while I was there, I would try to figure out how to get a job in pharmaceuticals or in health tech. And I could even continue to do the aesthetic medicine stuff on the weekends or on a part-time basis because there is a lot of flexibility involved with those kind of roles. As I mentioned, I also wanted to kind of get into the health tech space. So this is when networking came in. During one of my practical sessions, while I was doing my diploma in aesthetics, I was speaking to a fellow doctor about the fact that I want to do health tech, but I just don't know how to get into this space. And somebody in the room, he overheard me, and he was someone that had done a fellowship slash diploma in the health tech space. So he came and he told me all about the program. He told me about the application link. I applied for that. And I felt like, oh, wow, okay, this will definitely give me an edge. It will help me get into digital health. So I also started that diploma around the same time. So I, of course, kept applying for different jobs that I saw on LinkedIn that would come up for aesthetic doctors. And getting a role actually wasn't too difficult because there was so many aesthetic clinics opening up all around the UK and Ireland. So I did apply for one job and I got that offer, but it just didn't really align with what I wanted and with my goals. And then there was another clinic that gave me an offer, but their onboarding process was quite long. So I just kind of told them, look, I'm going to go travel for a couple of weeks. And when I come back, we could continue the onboarding process and the whole vetting process. So while I was on my travels, I was still looking on LinkedIn and I saw that one of the very popular aesthetic pharmaceutical companies posted a job offer for something called a clinical specialist. Now, of course, I never heard about that role before. I didn't really know too much about it or what it entailed, but just looking through what they were looking for, they wanted a doctor specifically. And I figured, oh, that might be something very useful for me to apply for because of the fact that I have some knowledge in the aesthetic space and I want to be in the pharmaceutical industry. So I took a chance. I applied for the job. I did the interview. Of course, when I went for my interview for that pharmaceutical role, I told them about everything I have ever done, everything that I'm going to do. So I mentioned the fact that I was doing the level 7 diploma in aesthetics, the fact that I was starting a diploma in health tech, the interest I had in working in pharmaceutical. And I think all of those things combined helped give me that competitive edge and helped me land the role in the end. And what this job really entails is more of an educational role. So you go around to different clinics and you teach them about different techniques involved with using our products. You can teach anatomy, assessment, all these different things involved in the aesthetic space. And they give us a lot of really, really good training. So having an aesthetics background was not necessarily a requirement, but I think it helped a bit. As you could imagine, after doing all of this research and networking over the last year, I have come across many different alternative career paths for doctors. So I'm just going to share a few with you just to give you an idea of what is out there, but I'm sure there are many, many more. And the thing is, you can always make a career path for yourself. You need to just use whatever skills you have and what is aligned with your goals to find a job that suits you. So, an example of some jobs you can get in the health tech space, for example, you could become a founder, a CEO. A lot of us go on to become entrepreneurs. You can work in the sales part of a health tech team. You can become a product manager, a product designer. You can work on clinical research within the health tech or the digital health space. You can become a clinical safety officer. This is a role that I've heard mostly about in the UK context. So if you're working in the NHS, there's a specific certification that you can do, and it allows you to be a clinical safety officer for health tech and other companies. You could become a regulatory lead. You could become the medical director of a health tech company, a clinical specialist, and even work on UX or UI design, as I mentioned before. Within the pharmaceutical space, some of the roles include a medical science liaison. You could be work in medical affairs, work in regulations or compliance, become a clinical specialist like what I am, or you can work on the research aspect of things. Of course, there's a whole other category, which is healthcare consulting. We know a lot of people tend to go into that or into management type roles. There are also roles such as medical writing. You could become a medical legal lawyer, coroner. You can work in quality assurance, become a medical sales rep, do medical insurance, billing. And of course, there are loads of other roles that I haven't mentioned. If you have come across a few, you can drop them in the comment section just to help other people out. And if you have any more questions or there was something I didn't address in this video, you can send me a message on LinkedIn or you can email me at hello@malikagrant.com. And thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back for more.